But I mastered that style. It's like the 5 deadly venoms. So all he had to do was get next to a nigga like that, he could destroy him.
Believe in that, for real. We plan to take the same strategy we use with Death Row West, mind over matter, taking all our weaknesses and making it into our strength. That all these people talk about an East Coast, West Coast war, they like the Judas was to Jesus. They only here to cause confusion. We here to bring money and to bring change. They here to cause confusion. All these weak rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game. If this was chess, we'd be yelling checkmate 3 years ago, cause we've been beat these. It's not a game.
You don't feel it, then it must be too real to touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, cause this is about to get heavy.
Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So it's wrong with the media today.
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. I return as Egoveli, man. Boxing needs Egoveli. It needs justice, man. I'm sick and tired of the boxing politics, the double standards. So, if you don't want to hear what I'm going to say in the title of this video, talking about drug tests, click off the video. I'm trying to spare you. But that's what this video is about. Man, there's too many cheats in the sport, things of that sort, man, and it's getting bad. But what becomes worse, the cheating is bad enough, you know what I mean? People are always going to try to find a way around things and way to circumvent the rules and things like that. But some of the boxing fans, like, I just did a video about Alexander Povetkin. He tested positive, and the Wilder fight is in question. We don't know if it's going to go, if Wilder's going to say fuck it, even though he tested positive for a Meldonium. I'm still gonna fight him or what? So we don't know at this point. At the point of this video being recorded, you got people coming out of the woodwork defending Povetkin for turning up a positive test. Like, this was already like the Rocky movie. People were calling Deontay Wilder the Black Rocky, you know what I mean, the American champion, going overseas to face a threatening puncher in Russia, right? And just like the Rocky movie, he tests positive for something. Now, I don't know in the movie, I don't remember. That's one of my favorite movies. I just don't remember. I don't think it was ever revealed that he tested positive, but they show it. They depict him getting, when he's training, he was juicing, right? And people have the nerve to try to sweep this under the rug as if it's some cool shit. Oh, Meldonium was just banned in January, right? He could have taken it. His promoter said he's taking it in September. And it's crazy, man. It really is, because people are coming out of the woodwork. There's a tennis player from Russia who also got busted, tested positive for the same substance, right? Her name is Maria Sharapova, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. Now, this is the thing. Maria Sharapova plays tennis. Povetkin punches people in the fucking face for a living. So I even if she, let's say she was juicing or whatever she was doing, she has a racket. She's hitting a tennis ball. Not saying I condone cheating in any way, shape, or form, but the severity is completely different when you are a grown-ass 240+ pound man and you're already a powerful guy naturally, and you're enhancing that by taking anything that gives you an unfair chemical advantage. Completely different than tennis. Hitting a fucking tennis ball. This is your fist. You've seen Mir Khan in his mismatch where he got destroyed by one punch, a solid punch. This is the heavyweight division. So I don't care about Maria Sharapova because she's hitting a tennis ball, right? Not saying I condone cheating, but most of you guys don't even know who she is. This is just stuff you're passing on, information that you read. Furthermore, when you look at her case, her individual case, she has a history of diabetes in her family. Her doctor prescribed her this medicine because she was showing signs of potentially having diabetes or kind of anemic. She was constantly getting sick and getting the flu, and she was feeling weak, things like that. She has a history of diabetes in her family. She had irregular EKG results. As a result, her doctor prescribed her for the Meldonium, right? So she got busted for it, and then that's the reason. But what does that have to do with Alexander Povetkin? Did his doctor prescribe it? Why is he taking this? You know what I mean? She has the history of diabetes in the family, irregular EKG results, etc. Why is he on this substance? That's what I need to know, right? That's one thing. So stop comparing her to him to someone else that failed too. You're talking about two people who got busted, you know what I mean? And their stories could be completely different. It's just crazy that people are that desperate. Like, it's boxing is so corrupt. People rather be right than just to face the truth, face the music, and be like, hey, this is not a good look for Povetkin, which it isn't a good look. Instead, they want to try to save face. Oh, but Maria Sharapova, a tennis player, you didn't even know who that was. You just heard somebody say that name. How many of you that are diehard boxing fans watch tennis equally? You know what I mean? You might know like Andre Agassi and Serena Venus Williams. So you don't, come on, you really knew who Maria Sharapova is. You know what I mean? You know Kornikova or something like that, but come on, you really know about Maria Sharapova? Get out of here. And again, what is Povetkin's reasoning for being on this? She was having the irregular EKGs and different things that got prescribed this. Why is he? Another thing that's a negative light, I'm going to break it down for you guys, is the medicine or whatever, the Meldonium, was recently banned in January of 2016. That is true. That is fact. It was recently banned. Keep in mind, it's banned everywhere else except for in Russia. So that's already kind of suspect. So it's not, this was just a new ban to Russia. People are acting like that's what people are not understanding. This was an over-the-counter drug in Russia. In Russia, it was an over-the-counter drug until January. So worldwide, this has already been banned. Meldonium has been banned before in other regions, everywhere else except for Russia. But Russia jumped on the bandwagon in January. So that's one thing, just to clear that up. Second, when you look at the Meldonium situation, they said, oh, it takes a few months to leave your system. Now, Povetkin said he took this substance before it was banned in September. So, like, do the math. September, you look at October, November, January, February, March, April, May. That's 6 to 7 months. How long is it going to show in your system? Because they obviously had to conduct the drug test right before this fight in May or April, because that's when the random testing started, because Wilder in January is already fighting Spilka. So I know they didn't test way back then for it because the fight hadn't even been negotiated. So again, why is it in your system so long? Second of all, why are you taking it? And the other thing, when you look at drugs in the sport of boxing, some people take lesser drugs, diuretics and stuff, to mask the presence of even more vicious drugs, even more illegal drugs, if you will. I mean, just in terms of the severity of what they can do for your body. You know what I mean? Replenish blood cells and things like that. So these are the questions I have for Alexander Povetkin. Yet and still, people still want to try to justify this. So you want me to believe that he hasn't taken it since September, back when it wasn't banned, and 6 to 7 months later, it's still in his system? Really? It's the presence is that long. He really shouldn't have been taking it if it's gonna stay in your blood system that long. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not a forensic pathologist or a scientist or anything, but I'm pretty sure 6 to 7 months, some hardcore like actual drugs like cocaine and stuff probably wouldn't be in your system 7 months later. You know what I'm saying? Trace elements, maybe, I don't know. But either way, it's not a good look for the sport of boxing. And Povetkin, if you guys follow the story, he ducked the VADA testing. He did not want it, and that's what else makes it suspect. He didn't want VADA testing, and then was kind of backed into a wall because people were like, why won't you do it? As part of the WBC rules for their championship fights. And then he did it, and then he gets tested positive for something. You also look at it like this. Let's say I'm going to use his story. I'm going to play devil's advocate. So he took this before it was banned in September, even though I still haven't heard a conclusive reason from him or his promoter, who have released statements as to why he was on it in the first place. Why did you need this particular drug, Meldonium? Why did you need it to begin with? Maria Sharapova got it prescribed from her doctor. Why did you need to take this to begin with? Who said, you know what, Povetkin, you need this? You know what I'm saying? For X, Y, and Z reasons. You're anemic, you have ADD. Who prescribed this to him? That's what I need to know. Why was he taking it to begin with? That's one thing. Second of all, if I'm to believe that he didn't know, or he took it in September when he wasn't, before it was banned, you got to look at it like this. Why wouldn't that be if you know you were on something that recently got banned, right, in January? Why did it have to come out this way? If you knew you were doing VADA testing, wouldn't it be, because I've seen, even if you, people see, I'm not stupid. If you get a certain treatment, like if you get a facial done, or if you get even sometimes massages and things like that are just completely therapeutic things, they have you fill out a questionnaire. And the questionnaire is going to ask you, hey, do you have any medical conditions? Are you currently taking anything? Are you currently pregnant? Just run-of-the-mill standardized questioning, so they get a better feel of who they have in there that's getting a facial with chemicals. Because if you're pregnant, they need to know that, because pregnancy might have some complications with some chemical that they use, etc. It's no different in boxing, VADA testing, things like that. So why does it have to come out for Alexander Povetkin via a failed test, a positive test? Why couldn't he declare, if you knew you were on something last year before it was banned, right? And you knew you were on Meldonium for whatever reason, I still haven't heard why you were on it to begin with, but you knew you were on it and it's now banned. Why wouldn't you declare that? Then there's no mystery. It doesn't look like a surprise. To me, the way it looks suspect. It looks suspect, like you were only going to reveal it if, in fact, you got caught. So you were hoping to slide. Because other than that, I'd be like, hey, I took Meldonium back in September. I'm completely off of it. And you would declare that on the questionnaire, which hopefully someone can produce. You know what I'm saying? You don't just wait for yourself to fail and be like, oh, hey, you know what? That's that Meldonium I was on in September. That's not what you do. You would declare that up front, similar to Pacquiao with the shoulder injury. If you need Toradol, you don't wait till the day of and say, oh, my shoulder's bothering me. Hey, can I get some Toradol? You don't do that. That's bad business, and it makes you look dumb in the end. Povetkin, he's been a fighter long enough. He's an Olympian. He knows the protocol. He knows the process. He's made money in the sport. So if you don't have the right team around you to advise simple stuff like this, then you have the wrong team. So either way, it looks really, really suspect on Povetkin's part. And it's crazy to see people are honestly trying to justify this. Like, oh, it was just Meldonia. Somebody put, and I'll try to put a screenshot, that Meldonia or whatever is not going to help him punch harder. That's probably one of the most moronic things that I've ever heard. It's not going to help him punch harder. Then why was he taking it to begin with? If it does nothing, if it's merely something that's banned, why does he need to take it in the first place? If it does nothing for him. And again, if you at this level of competition, both guys, Wilder and Povetkin, can crack. You don't want to be in there when you're not on an even playing field where anybody has any advantage. Like, oh, he should normally be getting tired, but this has helped keeping his blood flow or his oxygen levels up, or whatever these different drugs are doing. That's unfair, because Wilder, fatigue might set in for him, but Povetkin is still operating at optimal speeds and conditions because he has something that's allowing his blood flow to it's increasing his blood flow and is directing the blood flow or whatever Meldonium does to you, to the point where it gives you an unfair advantage. So it's just not making sense. It's not making sense. And I also want to talk about some other people. Felix Sturm tested positive. Lucas Brown tested positive in his A sample. Then he had his B sample tested. He failed that too, and he was recently stripped of his belt for failing test sample A and B, right? And then also Alexander Povetkin, and and Francisco Vargas. And for whatever reason, just to show you the politics and the corruption, that fight's still going on. You can still buy tickets for that fight. So how is Francisco Vargas, a champion with the WBC, how is he being allowed to continue fighting against Orlando Salido, who also tested positive after his fight with Robert Guerrero? So a past cheater and someone who's currently cheating, and Golden Boy is still allowing that fight to commence in LA at the StubHub Center because there's so much money invested in it, and they probably didn't want to take that L because they've already secured the venue, they've already made the flyers, they already had their first press conference by the time the positive test of Francisco Vargas came out, and the fight is allowed to continue. Crazy. Danny Garcia, he gets hated. anytime he fights anyone, it's a cherry pick, people putting cherries all over, but they never tell you how he fought Eric Morales, who's a legend, you know what I mean, one of my favorites growing up, but truth is truth. And he tested positive for the same thing that Francisco Vargas tested positive, that clenbuterol. And Danny Garcia fought him on drugs and knocked him out, right? And spun him around in the rematch because he had the rematch clause. He couldn't make weight and tested positive for clenbuterol, the diuretic, which is a banned substance. And Danny Garcia still knocked him out. He still fought him like that, in that, with even knowing that he might have been on something harder and using clenbuterol to mask it and stuff like that. It's unfair in the sport of boxing right now, the politics. And then you look at guys like Deontay Wilder. He gets called all kinds of names. He was scared, he was ducking, he was a bitch, he was a pussy, bum squad, and things like that. So based on this revelation of Povetkin failing a drug test at all for anything, who looks scared? Povetkin or Wilder? Wilder, to my knowledge, hasn't failed anything, right? So Povetkin, he already had the hometown advantage fighting in Russia, and on top of that, he was on something. So to me, that stipulates maybe he was scared, like he knew what he was up against. Like, hey, I'm in there with somebody real, and I'm not trying to get knocked out in front of Russia. So let me give myself this strategic advantage, and let me be on something that I'm not supposed to be on, and see what happens. So it's crazy, man. But the drugs, the cheats, it gotta stop. And again, I keep pointing back to this. Floyd Mayweather pioneered this. I know some of you guys get mad. He ushered this in, and he was another person who got ridiculed and crucified for bringing drug testing to the forefront. Oh, you need to just fight Pacquiao, whether he's on drugs or not. You sound like a coward. You're ducking him. He said, I'll fight him. You just got to be on an even playing field. And that wasn't good enough. Now, year after year, since that point, we've seen several people pop for different things. And the list goes on and on and on. Let me know what you guys think of all the cheats, all the drugs in the sport of boxing. Should fights like Francisco Vargas and Orlando Salido be allowed to continue? Same thing with Wilder Povetkin. Do you think that will continue at the time of this video? I haven't heard any conclusive information as if it's officially scrapped or whatnot, but people spent all this time saying that Deontay Wilder was afraid of Povetkin, and he went into the fight clean. At least that's what his tests are showing, because there's nothing been revealed about Deontay Wilder. Crazy. I'd expect this from the UFC maybe, but not from boxing. And there's people getting popped left and right. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.